Alright, hello everybody and welcome to the preview for Hull City versus AFC Bournemouth. On Saturday the 28th of August, 3 o'clock kickoff at the MKM Stadium. The match details can come on your screen briefly for now, but I'm going to take them off in just a moment because I have an announcement. I am officially a Fan Hub content partner. So if you're watching this preview through the Fan Hub app, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy. And I hope you stick around for some time as well. And also hop over to the YouTube side of things and hit that nice big red button. And to celebrate my partnership with Fan Hub, I have, for now at least, a single-use code to give you access straight away to Fan Hub and skip the 600 plus waiting list queue, and you can be straight on the app following Hull City if you want to get another team, if you're that way inclined. So be it. So you can see the code on screen there. It is OLD, all lowercase, dash lowercase o, capital L, lowercase n. So I hope you use that code if you're not on the app already. It's fantastic. It is fantastic. Before each game, you predict your team. So you can... We'll get on to more of the predicted team side once we get towards that bit of the preview. 60 minutes before kickoff, you can check in at the stadium. Or, if you're not there remotely, you get fan shares as well for checking into stadiums. The further you go, the more fan shares you get. So if I'm a Hull City fan, I did Preston away. That got me 120 fan shares, whereas the home game against Wigan only got me 68. And if you went to Fulham, which I didn't, I'm sure that would have got you a lot as well. Your fan score is contributed to by your predicted team by making sure you check into the ground, doing your miles, and fan feed, which is where you'll be watching this content right now. So make sure you go and download Fan Hub, and I've got the single-use code there. That's just Grant McCann. Use that single-use code. I've only got that one for now, but soon enough I will have a couple more codes that I can tweet out, put on my Instagram, or promote on here as well, which you can use to skip the waiting list and get straight in to the action that is the brilliant Fan Hub app. So, we'll go straight into team news then. Alfie Jones missed the 2-0 defeat away to Fulham with what Grant McCann described as a niggling groin problem. Grant McCann confirmed in his pre-match press conference that Jones is quite close to a return, and I was down at the training ground yesterday. I'll give you a little bit more insight on that very soon. However, Alfie Jones told me personally that he is hopeful to be available to face Bournemouth at the MKM Stadium. I asked him, "You're going to be back this weekend, Alfie?" He says, "Hopefully, mate, hopefully. I've been on the grass today, and I'm going to be in full training tomorrow, so we'll just assess then." But, while Alfie Jones is still a bit of a doubt, also ready for this game is Ryan Longman. The on-loan Brighton attacker was forced off in the first half of the 3-0 defeat to QPR at the MKM Stadium. Grant McCann explained prior to the Fulham game that game came just too soon for Longman, and Longman has been in full training all week, and McCann says he, quote, looks sharp where we saw him in pre-season. George Monker will complete his 3-game suspension for a red card versus QPR this game, and will return to face Swansea City in the first game after the international break. Matt Smith and Josh McGuinness have been called up for international duty with Wales and Northern Ireland respectively. Neither of the pair travelled to countries on the UK travel red list whilst away with their national sides. This means that they will have to quarantine on return, so their availability straight after the international break versus Swansea at the Liberty Stadium will depend on when they arrive back in Hull and their fitness levels when they do so. And George Honeyman ankle and Malik Wilkes calf will return after the international break from their respective injuries. Honeyman was doing jogging on Thursday, yesterday. He came over to us fans, and I asked him, is the international break the aim? He says, yeah, my first day back on the grass today. And then towards the end of the session, it was Malik Wilks came out. He just walked round for a bit. He walked over to where Keane Lewis Potter was at the far side. He was doing some shooting drills with Harvey Cartwright and David Robson, the two young goalkeepers. So Malik Wilks went over there, then had a chat with Jacob Greaves, then went and sat down with Lewis Potter, Fleming and Greaves. Lewis Potter and Fleming came over to us fans that were there, and then Jacob Greaves and Malik Wilks came over. That's all the news. I've waffled there, I know. Ref watch, Jeff Elchingham's the referee for this game. The two liners are Rob Smith and Andrew Dallas, and the fourth official is Mark Edwards. Onto stats, and these are taken from our last game against Fulham, in which we had 8 shots. Of those 8, 3 were on target. We had 37% of possession, committed 5 fouls. Hull City made 12 tackles. We won 48% of aerial duels in the game. Not bad. And City made 414 passes in the game with a pass accuracy of 80%. And I've got another stat here for you, which I found on Twitter. I will just try and get the image up so I can find the exact source. But I'm sure that us lot who have watched home games this season are aware of Josh McGuinness and his offside antics. So, Championship 65 on Twitter at F365EFL say that so far this season, Josh McGuinness has been caught offside 10 times. That is more than Coventry, Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest, Blackpool, QPR, Bristol City, Blackburn, Sheffield United, Stoke, Peterborough, Bournemouth, Derby, Reading, Huddersfield, West Brom, Millwall and Fulham. So Josh McGuinness, on his own, has been offside more times this season than 17 of the 24 Championship clubs. Bless him. Bless him. News on a new striker, hopefully coming today. Hasn't been announced at time of recording this, though. We'll get to that in a minute. And stats continued in previous encounter with Bournemouth. We have won 19, drawn 11, lost 13. Since 2010, there have been just the 2 games involving these two sides, both of them in the Premier League. One won by Bournemouth, the other by Hull City. In Hull City's last 5 games versus Bournemouth, City have won 4 times, won 4, lost once. The only loss in those 5 was a 6-1 defeat away at the Vitality Stadium in October 2016. What do I think? We are slowly but surely getting players back from injury. You'll love to see it. You know, we had 5 key players out against Fulham and to only lose 2-0. Cool. You know, Honeyman and Wilks will be the biggest of those returns when you think this season we've been without our top scorer from last year for all but one of the games. We've been without our player of the season from last year. It's massive. They will make such a difference to this team. And I think Honeyman improves Doherty too. Now, I know Doherty played relatively well against Fulham, but against Derby and against QPR, he looked a little bit off the pace. And Honeyman will just drag him up, which is great. And more players getting minutes in the under-23s is great to see. Although it's the under-23s development league, and they want to play as well, there's loads of them sat on the bench who didn't get the minutes. Grant McCann showed an interest. He was sat down on the bench with Andy Dawson at the York Stadium. I think it's the LNER Community Stadium. I think that's it. Giving him pointers, and he freed up all those players to get a minute. And, there needs to be a goal from somewhere. Not scored in the league since the opening day. At time of recording, Tyler Smith is not a Hull City player. However, at the training ground yesterday, you might have seen my tweet about this, as I pulled up to the gates on my little bike, I'd done 10k there, helmet on, whatever. I pull up to the gates, straight in the car park, stood just outside reception, is what looks like Tyler Smith talking to a dude in a suit. That, I assume, is his agent, right? What I assume is his agent. About an hour later, he drives out of the training ground. As he drives out, club secretary David Beebe walks out of the training ground reception and is stood with some of the coaching team just by the side of the pitch. So I assume that Beebe and Smith's agent were just crossing some T's, dotting some I's, and that's probably announced by the time you're watching this video. We need an experienced centre-back. Greaves and Jones are very naive in their defending at the moment because it's both the first test championship football. I love Jacob Greaves. I love Alfie Jones. And, you know, it's a steep learning curve for both of them. Deshaun Bernard as well. Jacob Greaves, in consecutive seasons, has jumped from under 23s football to League 2 to League 1 to the Championship. He's still learning. And I think later on this season, we will see a much more defensively astute Jacob Greaves, because he will learn. He's got that attitude. He will learn. He gives everything every time he steps on that pitch. He's just got that attitude. And so will Alfie Jones. So will Deshaun Bernard, who's jumped from League 2 straight up to the Championship. Sean McLaughlin's still learning. And it's like we need someone like a Tommy Elphick who came in to sort of help Device and Burke out. We need someone like him to come in. I've been talking forever now. I know this is going to be a very long preview, so I'm going to leave it there. You've pretty much read all of that. Head-to-head battles then. Gary Cahill will have to stop Josh McGuinness, and Dominic Solanke will have to get past Jacob Greaves. Opposite view. Today, we are chatting to, well, you are getting the Bournemouth info from Back of the Net, the AFC Bournemouth fan channel. Take it away.
Hi, Sam Davis here from Back of the Net, the AFC Bournemouth pod and YouTube channel. This is a really interesting season for AFC Bournemouth because it signals a campaign where we've got a plan. After Eddie Howe departed the club, they gave the job to the number 2, Jason Tindall. That ultimately didn't work out, and then Jonathan Woodgate tried to get us into the Premier League, but ultimately failed in the playoffs. But Scott Parker represents a long-term vision for the club. We've had designs on having him for quite a while, and to be fair, he started off pretty well for AFC Bournemouth. We're unbeaten in the league with 2 draws and 2 wins. Really, probably should have happened the other way round, drawing with Blackpool at home. We did draw with West Brom at home as well, but we probably should have nicked that. Alas, on the road, we've done well. 3 points against Birmingham City and Nottingham Forest have meant that AFC Bournemouth look very comfortable in the top half of the table. However, there was a 6-0 defeat at Norwich City at Carrow Road in the Carabao Cup, which has left many an AFC Bournemouth supporters scratching their head. Now, if we put it into perspective, we've had to play loads of kids. We've got a threadbare squad. Scott Parker this season, it looks like he has to rely on youth and loan signings. Despite the losses we've had and the money we've had coming in for the likes of Arnaud Danjuma, who was a right old talent, £20 million for him, will that get reinvested? It remains to be seen. In terms of the incomings that we've had, we've got Gary Cahill that could add a sprinkle of experience to our young fledgling squad. However, we need a striker. At the moment, we've only got one, and that's Dom Solanke. If he gets injured, we're absolutely screwed. So there needs to be some new signings. And the nature of Bournemouth fans at the moment means we're very impatient. But we've got to realise that it is a long-term project, and it's going to be something that might not result in promotion straight away, but we're trying to do things with a vision for the future as well. It's great to see Parker using some of our youth from the academy. In the league, they've done all right. It didn't quite work out in the cup, but at the end of the day, the Carabao Cup, are we going to progress in it? Is that a priority? No. So it's all about the league. It's going to be a really interesting trip to Hull City on Saturday. Just as a point of note, at the start of the season on our channel, we did a prediction show, and that show predicted the league table, and Hull were the only side of the 3 promoted teams from League One that we thought would be all right this season. I think we predicted a lower half finish in the Championship, but we do think you'll be all right, and we can't wait to visit your stadium. It's the first time I'll have been. In terms of the result, I don't actually know. You know what, on the road we've been very good. It all depends what senior players we've got coming back in, because whilst we've had to use the youth, there are some senior players who are starting to get fit again. So if a few of them are back and we're fielding as strong a side as possible, I would fancy us to nick it. But what I'm going to do is go for a 1-1 out of respect for you guys. And also, I think at some point that that loss at Norwich, that 6-0, is gonna sort of slightly burden the players a little bit, and I've got a feeling it may have knocked our momentum a little bit. So I'm going for a 1-1, which, to be fair, I'd be happy with, as long as we then follow it up with a win for our next home game. All the best, guys, for the rest of the season, but not on Saturday. Cheers.
All right then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Back of the Net, for that. Current form there, not looking too great for us. Only saving grace for us in this game is that Bournemouth have just drawn 2-2 with Blackpool, who I think were a better team than, and have just been spanked 6-0 by Norwich. If we don't win, though, that's not a single win in our last 5. Oh dear. And there's your league table, down in 19th. 3 points from 4 games. We're still outside the relegation zone. We're still off the bottom by 3 points. And we've got 1 better goal difference as well. And Sheffield United, they're 2 points behind us. We've got 3 better goal difference than them. And there's your league statistics screen. So if you want to have a read of that, I've not put the home records and away records in because I'm in a bit of a rush to get this out. On to Around the Grounds then, and Championship Matchday 5. Cardiff City faced Bristol City in the first of the 2 early kickoffs. And then Derby faced Nottingham Forest. What a game that'll be. Also at 12:30. Then the 3 p.m. kickoffs are Barnsley versus Birmingham City, Fulham versus Stoke, Huddersfield Town versus Reading, Luton versus Sheffield United, Middlesbrough versus Blackburn Rovers, Millwall versus Blackpool, Preston North End versus Swansea, and Queen's Park Rangers versus Coventry City. And then the late kick-off is Peterborough United versus West Bromwich Albion. Memorable match, 15th of October 2016 at the Vitality Stadium in the Premier League. Bournemouth beat us 6-1. We'll gloss over that. On to last time out though, 14th of January 2017, the day after my birthday, at the K-Com Stadium, it was then known. We beat Bournemouth 3-1, coming back from 1-0 down after just 3 minutes when Junior Stanislas scored a penalty. Abel Hernandez scored twice and Tyrone Mings scored an own goal to give us the win that day. And that is our record against Bournemouth, dating all the way back to the 1st of November 1958, when we won 5-3 and Bournemouth were then called Bournemouth and Bunscombe Athletic. Shared shirts now, then we're looking at Shane Long today. Yeah, Hull City. I would have loved to have kept him a little bit longer, my God. He was with us, he signed for us in January 2014, left in August 2014. A story about Shane Long, actually. I went to get my home shirt for the 14-15 season. I thought, I'll have someone printed on the back. John Eyre, the kit man, was in there doing the printing, right? So he says to the people in Tiger Leisure, I'll do it for you. So he says, what do you want on the back? He says, Shane Long, number 9, please. So he goes, oh yeah, all right. He prints it, all this, that, and the other. A few days later, Shane Long leaves for Southampton. You'd have thought with it being the kit man, he might have known something about that. But still love John Eyre. My dad used to go to school with his brother. Anyway, for us, 17 appearances, 4 goals. And Bournemouth, who was on loan there for the second half of last season on loan from Southampton in 12 appearances, scored twice. On to my predicted 11 now then in Grant McCann's 4-3-3 formation. In goal is Matt Ingram. The back 4 is at right back Louis Coyle. The 2 centre-backs, Jacob Greaves, excuse me, and Deshaun Bernard are the 2 centre-backs. And Callum Elder is at left-back. The 2, what am I on about the 2? The 3 central midfielders are Richie Small, the captain, Matt Smith and Greg Docherty. Ryan Longman comes in on the right. Keane Lewis Potter stays on the left. And up top is Josh McGuinness. On to the bench then, where I've got Nathan Baxter, Alfie Jones, Tom Eaves, Josh Emmanuel, Andy Cannon, Randall Williams, and Tom Huddleston. That's your team in picture form. That is your team laid out on the pitch. On to my predicted score now then. Do I reckon we'll get the win? I don't reckon we'll get the win, but I think we will find a point out of this game. 2-2 I'm saying. I think Bournemouth, coming off a negative result against Blackpool, yeah, where they should have absolutely battered them if you watch the highlights. When I watched them on Quest, my God, they should have scored a few more. And getting spanked 6-0 by Norwich, not exactly a good thing when they've just been battered 5-0 themselves. So I think we'll salvage a point here, and we'll find 2 goals as well. Thank you very much for watching this one, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed. Sorry it's been a bit longer. If you're watching on FanHub, thank you very much. Hope you'll stick around, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.